As we do, you want.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Let's see. All right,
Not just January 6th day, we're gonna do the pledge of allegiance.
all right, we'll start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Great, welcome everybody to the first town board meeting of Caroline of 2025. And Millie is here observing us tonight, keeping a close eye on us. And we always start board meetings with an opportunity for the public to address the board at privilege of the floor. So I will offer that opportunity.
Have anything to add?
That's fine, that's fine. So,
I'd like to say something.
you would?
As,
would.
as a citizen, or as a board
Sorry.
member.
Either.
Okay.
It just occurred to me when we were saying the pledge to the flag, I was thinking about the flag and what it meant. And I was thinking that 4 years ago, there was a Confederate flag in the Capitol building. And I just wanted to take a minute to say that I'm really glad that we have this flag behind us. And that there was a peaceful transfer of power today. That's,
Okay. Thank you.
Who is it?
but I'm not gonna talk about that. Okay. So,
Okay. And as I think, we're all aware that the flag is at half staff in honor of, the passing of Jimmy Carter.
that's right.
And, you might have also noticed that that flag is really big.
Really big.
That is Cal's flag, it brought from his family, in honor of Colonel E.E. Snow.
Wow.
Oh.
He wanted to fly it for this
Very cool.
occasion.
Really? That's nice.
Yeah.
I was at Carter's inauguration.
Yeah. Great.
Go.
And that flag is recognizable to people who know about flags, because Mike Moran pulled up, he said, that's a funeral flag. It's 5 by 7. It's extra large.
Oh,
So
No kidding.
he knew exactly what it was. Yeah.
Wow, it's very
Huh.
cool.
I noticed it right away.
Yeah, I noticed it was big. Yeah, so I
it
didn't
like-
know it had
Is
that
it,
meaning.
is it that big to go over a casket?
Probably.
Oh, yep, exactly, you're right, yep.
Probably.
Well, the neighbor behind me has a very gigantic flag.
This I've seen.
Did you think?
More than 5 by 7?
What is
It's
it?
bigger
I
than
think that's big enough to cover a barn.
Yeah, it's even bigger than,
Okay, not a funeral flag, probably.
probably not then, I guess, although I guess it's supposed to be in honor of, their father. Oh, interesting. I haven't even thought about whether that one is at half staff.
I looked at it and I thought, gee, I bet it's at 1/4. I thought it was too low.
Oh.
Oh, I see. No.
Yeah,
So-
I thought about that too. I thought about raising it a little bit, but it is off the ground now.
Because it's, yeah.
Yeah, maybe half, and then you have to keep it off the ground.
But I noticed it's huge.
Well, that's great that
Nice
Cal has
Cal.
that.
Yep. All right, so, we are now going to consider the organizational resolutions, numbered 1 through 49. So,
Hold on to your seat.
yeah, I already warned her. So,
She's got a copy.
so the first one is worth reflecting on. It's our town board meeting rules of procedure. And the meeting decorum and responsibilities are the first item. We are all equals at the table and are elected to serve the town. We must at all times strive to make our meetings cordial and honorable, recognizing our fallibility as humans. We acknowledge that adherence to meeting rules of procedure will facilitate a constructive meeting atmosphere and process. We therefore commit to the principles and practices of Robert's Rules of Order. our communications with each other and with the public must acknowledge the dignity or worth of other persons and points of view. Each board member shall have an opportunity to speak once before speaking a second time. The presider, typically the supervisor, shall guide this if needed. Adherence to this process will promote equal participation by members, a thoughtful pace that promotes well-considered dialogue and curtails emotional reactions and mitigates against interruption. So I think that's a nice encapsulation of meeting process in a nutshell. The agenda meeting is the first meeting of the month. At the agenda meeting, we typically do committee reports. The introduction of resolutions to be considered at the next meeting, the business meeting. Actually, we often don't do that. We often just say what the resolutions will be and then introduce them on the agenda for that meeting, but I think that's fine. Typical public hearing venue. Resolutions may be brought forward for matters considered to be time sensitive and should be included on the meeting agenda if not pro forma. Setting of agenda items for the business meeting is a purpose of the agenda meeting. And the supervisor shall establish the order of the business meeting agenda. And then at the business meeting, the second meeting of the month, follow the established agenda. Items may be added upon agreement. Reports from departmental heads and county legislator. Opportunity for committee report updates and resolutions taken in order and must be moved and seconded prior to discussion. And let's see. The rest of it is just sort of about meeting timelines for meeting notices. And then under general, as I already mentioned, the first one is the opportunity to address the board at privilege of the floor is something we can and do offer. And we have a privilege of the floor policy that is included in the organizational resolutions. To the extent possible, authors of resolutions shall distribute their draft resolution for review and feedback to the full board prior to posting of the meeting's agenda. We typically do that. Resolutions introduced for a public meeting are products of town board's internal deliberations intended for review and feedback from the public and further discussion by the board during public session. I think that's an important one that is not fully embraced all the time, but the board having internal discussions between meetings is completely appropriate and constructive. If prepared, review of meeting minutes shall occur at the next meeting of the board to facilitate review process, respect and assist the clerk's management of meeting records, and enhance provision of information about town board activities and initiatives to the public. Public hearings and informational presentations may be scheduled for either monthly meeting. Items of business typically for the business meeting, but may be scheduled for the agenda meeting too, if considered urgent. And submission of written committee and department head reports prior to the meeting is encouraged in order to facilitate discussion. And that leads into the second resolution, which is the privilege of floor policy. The privilege of the floor is offered at the beginning of the meeting as an opportunity for individuals to provide input to the town board. Speakers have up to 3 minutes, subject to modification, depending on time constraints of a particular meeting. Each speaker is provided one speaking opportunity per meeting, and unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Written input is also welcome. Speakers agree not to speak about town staff personnel matters. Personnel matters should be directed to the appropriate supervisor or department head. Comments should be directed to the town board, and unwritten there is not to other speakers. or members of the public.
Can
Supervisor.
I just point out that the
Oh.
town board should be capitalized there?
Okay. We can make that edit. Thank you.
Sorry.
The supervisor or council persons may answer questions brought forward or defer until later for further research and thought. Respectful discourse is required. Any other thoughts about that resolution? Any amendments or?
Do we want to put in let me see. Provide input to that, they're not, that you don't talk back and forth
I think,
amongst people. Do we want to put that in, or do we just say you're supposed to be talking to us?
I think by saying that the comments are directed to the board is
Mhm.
sufficient, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Kate, you're suggesting having a clause or a sentence that says.
Yeah, so comments, maybe comments are to be directed to the town board, not to audience members, or not audience, what's the word?
Not anyone else.
Not anybody else. I mean, because we've, in the past, it's turned into a big grandstanding event. With it.
That's my job to point that out when that happens,
I
because
mean, you could add the word only, comments should be directed only to the town board if you wanted to,
That would be good.
but,
Yeah, should be directed only to the town board,
that does the job, all right.
or are to be.
That's a good strunk and white edit, I like that.
Jessica,
Or get rid of should and say must,
must be,
required to.
comments are to be directed only to the town board, or
I think only is,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Should just-
are.
should is kind of like, should I?
Oh,
Should
but maybe I'm all,
not?
yeah.
Quiet, it's not,
Are to be,
well,
are to be, I like are to be directed only to the town board.
Yeah,
So
that's,
turning
that's for
into a
changing words,
free-for-all
are
argument.
is better than should.
that's good, that seems
Should
good,
is more.
comments are
polite.
to be directed
Yes.
only to the town board.
Mhm.
yes.
Okay,
Seems-
done.
Okay.
Great. For the next resolution, I have an editorial thing that I want to do, because I made, a couple years ago, I made, the resolution 8. Lists all of the wage rates and stuff, but then I have these other some of them do, some of them don't. Say the wage rate, so I want to take out in like resolution 3, just town historian Barbara Cohn, period.
Okay,
Okay,
Take that.
take out
wage,
the money.
Take out the money. So all through, take out the money. So Jennifer Johnson,
Okay.
take out the money.
Mhm.
Ida Beesimer, take out the money. And Chris Wilbur, take out the money.
Okay,
So that simplifies that. And also add town hall maintenance,
Mhm.
Richard Brooks.
Okay.
I talked to him today, or
Okay.
texted with him today, so he's in on that. That's a editorial amendment.
what about resolution 4, are you gonna keep that wage rate in there?
That's a good point.
You
No.
say for the resolve. Is it, you put that there for a reason, maybe?
No, I think that happened.
Is it,
I
was it
think-
updated?
Yeah, I think it makes sense to take that out. Just take out the further resolve.
What about the clause not to exceed 1,300 hours?
I don't think it's needed.
Okay.
Yeah,
How many hours does she work now?
She works 3 6-hour days a week, about
How much is that per year?
18.
That is 18.
18 a weeks,
No, that's 18 a week, but how much per year?
well,
I can do the week. I just thought maybe somebody knew how to.
Team times 52, is it?
Mhm.
something like, it's like 900 dollars.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
all right.
that's.
I was just wondering if we needed extra hours for the broadband project or something, whether that would go over the hours.
I don't think so.
Okay,
That's, I
We
mean, I did,
budgeted for that from Dragon.
oh,
I did it times, oh wait. My math was wrong.
Is it, you said 18, and then I did 52 weeks is 936
okay,
hours.
that's
Okay.
fine. Okay, and we could change it if we needed to.
I honestly don't think that further resolve is needed. I think it's simple.
Just
Try
get
to
it.
take it out, just take it out. Okay, thank you. But good catch, because I wanna,
Well, I have a question, since I'm new, where did that come from? That should not exceed 13, did you make a resolution at some previous meeting that,
yep, carried forward from previous organizationals and
as long as it's in the record at some point that you can refer to, otherwise it should be here.
so, I mean, I think. I see what you're saying.
I don't wanna lose it if it's important information.
Well, I can see the concern, but I think that this sort of thing could and should vary year to year anyway.
Okay, so it's adaptable.
Yeah.
It's
That makes
adaptable,
sense.
and the other thing is, I mean, when we hired the bookkeeper, we agreed on. In her hiring agreement, that hours per week. So, I mean, I think that's,
So if you change that, you have to change this, which
Right, I
makes it
mean-
complicated. So I would take it out.
good, okay,
I mean, these are resolutions just for this year, right?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And, but it is true, they have historical baggage in them that,
Yeah.
you know. So, I like sprucing them up.
I guess that's a question I had, that I was gonna wait till the end, but this is coming from a previous year's,
Last year.
or is it
Modified.
coming out of some kind of policy document that you're now putting into?
It's not from a single, these are many different town policies for establishing like our legal firm, our engineering firm, and so, but
So essentially, you're adjusting town policy document, there's like an overarching document, and this is year to year, you shift it
Yeah.
depending on the year.
depending on what's going on, yeah,
Uh-huh, okay.
exactly. I mean, like what it didn't have before was the table from Resolution 8 that listed all
like,
the wage rates.
yeah, maybe one way to explain it is, this is the document that you're
Yeah.
referring to. Sometimes in the document, it refers to other town policies. Such as the staff manual, I mean, there might be places in here where other policies are referred to, but this is the document.
Like
Which is why we
resolution
have to pass it
11
every year.
has a reference to the town of Caroline video conferencing policy. Right, so,
And you're only changing the parts that need to be changed, but there are other things in the policy.
This is our discretion, this is the town board.
I'm just trying to
discretionary.
understand what it is. Like, so when you do this every year,
We do this,
there is a document that is always there, but each year things need to be adjusted, so you do this, what we're doing now.
mhm.
But not all policies are being changed.
no,
No,
Right,
No.
it's just the ones that need adjustment.
right,
Yes.
Got it.
that's right. Yeah,
Well, I
sorry.
mean,
I mean,
the privilege of the floor thing, that's probably the same year after year, right?
pretty much,
we modified it a lot a few years ago. Cal wanted to simplify it, and we did, I thought it was much
And so
better.
why is it in this one unless it's being changed? Just because you want the public to know that it's still there?
Oh, well, I put it forward much as it had been. And then there were some editorial ideas in our discussion tonight. Is that what you mean for the privilege of floor policy?
Yeah, but why was it in there originally before we started tonight?
Because we didn't have this discussion yet.
so every year we just kind of go over, do we want to keep?
But
it
not all the
this way?
policies are in here to discuss. So I'm trying to
What
understand what the
policies-
purposes
What
of it is.
policies do you think are not in here?
That's not my question. My question, I'm trying to understand this process.
Right, okay.
So why are some things in here that might have changed from the year-to-year policy document. But some things are in here that aren't changing
I see what you're
that are in
saying.
the policy
You're
document.
saying, you know, you're saying, is a resolution good forever? And why do we change it? Why do we put it in here if we're not changing it?
Right,
So, I guess my answer to that is I think, for a lot of, so the town board changes over time. I think it's good to, these are fundamental, policies, like who our town attorney is.
yeah.
And by putting them in here, then we have this discussion at the organizational meeting. And maybe somebody says, well, do we really want to have that town attorney? You know, I think it's good to have that discussion, even if we keep it the same. But at least it comes before us and we think about it. And then, you know, we can either change it or not.
Okay,
So does that make sense?
sure, I'm just wondering, maybe I should have looked at all the policies. If
Well,
if
so
they're not,
when
if
you
they're not
say
all
all
here,
the policies, you know, what are we?
I'm just assuming,
These are considered the policies that help us run, that make us run,
Yeah.
that set the structure for the rest of the year.
okay,
And then,
this is all of them,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that's all I'm
So
wondering.
that's what I think it's well, I'm not an expert, obviously, but I don't think it's necessarily things that are being changed that we're discussing. It's
Yeah.
things that are the basic fundamental policies.
Okay.
I think that's right.
But they're all here,
Yes,
not like there's a book somewhere and we pulled some out and.
Exactly,
we're
oh,
talking about Some
absolutely
of them,
right,
but then some of them we're not talking
Right,
about, that's all I'm trying to understand.
yeah, that makes sense, yeah, good. Very good. So looking to, number 7, I see that, I would change the first resolve to the town board establishes the office of deputy town clerk, and then just strike the rest of that.
and is that Velvet? Who's the deputy town clerk?
We don't have a deputy town clerk
Oh,
right
okay.
now,
All
but
right,
that would be, Jesse has the, authority to appoint a
Okay.
deputy town clerk if she wishes.
okay.
Or this provides Jesse with the authority to do that.
Yeah,
And the deputy highway superintendent, is that Bill Guggenheim?
yes.
Okay. Is it inappropriate for me to ask that?
Hmm?
Is it okay that I ask that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. On resolution 10, I just want to check in, so. I think we discussed it last time, but, so are everybody comfortable moving forward this year with the first meeting on the first Wednesday of the month and the second meeting on the third Wednesday of the month?
Yes.
I think that works for Jesse, and I think everyone will also, okay. So that's good. Kate mentioned the town video conferencing policy, which we still have. And let's see, some real doozies coming up, like number 16, the investment policy, but we actually did reinvest our town savings this last year in the NY class, the municipal saving
Right.
organ, and that has been really, really good, really positive.
So the Ithaca Journal, I'm just looking at the official newspaper. The Ithaca Journal is still our official.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be another one, just fewer and fewer people get the Ithaca Journal.
But for,
But
yeah,
for our legal purposes.
Yeah.
It has to be some kind of certified newspaper, it can't be like the old mill.
right.
Or like the, Ithaca Voice or something like that.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
It's gotta have a fairly wide distribution.
Okay,
I amended the purchasing policy thresholds, because I'd done it before last year, but I missed some.
What number is this one?
is that 17?
Number 4, no, there's number 4. What is it? It's a couple pages down.
Is that resolution 17?
17.
17's the procurement policy.
How come I don't have a 17? I have investment policy.
Yeah.
Oh, because I didn't go far enough. That's why. There it is. Procurement policy. Okay. So yeah, anyway, I bolded on guideline 4, the thresholds for
Or guideline.
going to public bid for purchases of supplies and public works projects to $20,000 and $35,000 respectively. So
I note the typographical space errors in guideline 5.
where? What? Oh, between C and A?
Request for
Just these things right here,
quotes,
these gaps.
Oh, yeah, there's big
Yes.
gaps.
question.
Yeah, thank you. And also it should be A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Oh, no, that's guideline 6.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then this got pushed over too. This paragraph is off the page that direction. The next set of lines down.
They should go to the left.
Should go this.
Oh,
way.
yeah, those should go.
Those lines are indented wrong.
We will fix
And
that.
I'll make sure to go through and have those all reformatted when I do the minutes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yep.
Jesse. Yeah. Those are good catches. I don't like that stuff, so thank you. I regret that for 21, I didn't come up with a day yet for the annual audit meeting. Should we set one and see how it goes?
What was last year's?
I'm trying to think, I think we did it,
It was late, as I remember.
it was what,
Later, as I remember.
later, but I think we could do it soon.
It's separate from a regular public board meeting.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a morning where we meet with myself and Velvet or Jesse or the court and go through, audit the accounting records. And I think, yeah, I remember,
It's a state requirement.
I think we did it on a work day last year, right, Jesse? I think we did it.
I
I
think so.
couldn't make it last year, I did the first year.
Yeah, it's usually in the mornings.
Yeah. And I can't remember whether the court wanted it on a Tuesday or didn't want it on a Tuesday or wanted it on a Wednesday or
It may have changed, or, I mean,
what's that?
it might have changed.
Yeah.
Since last year, so we would have to ask them.
Would say we could do it on the 20th, which is inauguration day. But that's also Martin Luther King Day. How
Yeah.
ironic.
Yeah, so we don't,
It's ironic,
I did
yeah.
not realize that.
I noticed that the other day.
I can do it that week.
that week, so why don't we shoot for whatever works between the 20th, 21st and 22nd? Would those days work? That's
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Next week, I can't do anything. Can't do anything for the rest of this week either. Okay, so 21st. It's gonna be in the morning,
Yeah, say like,
so it won't be the 20th because that's the holiday.
Right.
what about the 20th?
That's,
Can't be this 20th.
that's
it's a
Martin Luther
holiday.
King Day.
Yeah, okay, good, I agree.
21st, 22nd, 23rd.
Do all of us need to be there?
For me, the 21st or 22nd would be best.
22nd would be best.
21st or 22nd, 21st or 22nd.
Let's schedule for the morning of the 22nd.
Is that a Tuesday?
It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking there was some reason that the court wanted Tuesdays, but I guess you can ask them.
Yeah. You think Tuesdays are better?
It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to me, I think we should.
Is Tuesday or Wednesday good for everybody?
Right now, yeah,
That's fine for me.
I used to ride on Tuesday mornings, but
No, it's fine.
no riding till.
Okay, so we could ask the court which day they prefer.
Okay.
I won't know until probably closer to the beginning of next week. I'm starting my new job,
Okay.
so I don't know what the
Oh, you might be.
responsibilities are for that, for my time.
Is this
Like-
for the court or for all the offices?
I'm thinking all the offices. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll just have to check with Chris and make sure that she's gonna be in that week, just cause of tax collection, so.
Right. Right.
But I can confirm with everybody by email.
Okay.
So we're saying the 22nd right now?
21st or 22nd, right?
I'm inclined to just say 21st or 22nd.
Right,
Let's say 10 a.m. And upon confirmation or something like that.
Okay.
Upon confirmation with the court. I'll just say upon confirmation. Great. Okay. And so resolution 22 has a pay rate in it, so I'm gonna put a period after bookkeeping. And strike that.
So, do we currently have a typist?
No,
Okay.
they never get one, but we allow for it, so.
Okay.
And I'm gonna cross that out and put a period after typist.
Okay,
And you don't have to include the bailiff?
No, they work on a contractual basis, so I'll
Okay.
just do it that way. Great. Resolution 24, we're just about halfway through these exciting resolutions. And that is for the February
Right.
meeting of the Association of Towns, and I am intending to go. And anybody else is welcome to go.
I made reservations.
You've made reservations and
I think I'd like to go this year. so-
you're gonna go?
I think so.
Okay.
What are the dates here?
I think it's the 17th. Let's see, I can figure it out here.
17th,
Starts on a Sunday.
16th to 18th.
Yeah. 16th to 19th. The
16th.
business meetings on the morning of the 19th, and then that's
That's
it.
why you're free to go and I'll go home.
Yeah, that's right. So, so that's great. So who shall we appoint as delegates for the voting
You,
privileges?
You. yeah.
Okay, who wants to be the alternate in case like I eat some bad food or something?
Kate,
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Kate. Thanks for volunteering.
Sure. You can thank him for that. Are you still gonna go though, right?
yeah,
Where, I'm sorry, I missed it. Where is it again?
It's in Times Square, New York City.
Oh, wow.
You could go too. There's lots of training stuff. It's really interesting.
I will,
Share it with all of us if you haven't yet.
I'll share the agenda thing. Did I send, I don't think I sent it yet, but
I'll read it and. see
You have
what I
to send
think.
the agenda, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna go.
And the town pays for it.
Take our bus.
I take the Cornell campus,
you can take that one or you can take the Flixbus.
right?
It works great.
Yeah.
So,
You
I'll
could-
probably drive.
You could drive. yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
We're showing Broadway on there.
Not
I
me.
know, it's $9 to get into Manhattan.
I'm not driving down there. That's for sure. I'm too afraid.
No, it's cheaper through the tunnel.
That's true.
Okay, great, thank you. So moving ahead here. I'm not seeing anything. let me know if you want me to bring up anything. I did talk to Greg Harrington. He's happy to continue serving as our water alarm contact, which is great. So Tompkins County, number 36, Tompkins County Council of Governments, representative and alternate. So I would like to continue serving as the rep, and Tim has been serving as the alternate. Would you like to continue?
I would.
Okay, is that okay with everyone else?
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Okay, great. And let's see, I'm designated as the Health Consortium Director and Velvet as the alternate. And here's one, the Tompkins County Recreation Partnership Representative and Alternate. And I don't think Evelyn Carnes is around anymore. Does anybody know her? So anyway, we need a representative for that. For both that, for the rec partnership and the joint youth commission.
Do you, what kind of, like, where do they meet and so on?
I can't remember, they meet at the,
The Joint Youth Commission is the Zoom meetings.
oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been doing that, Kate? I can't remember.
I started doing that, and then my time kind of got eaten up by the Transportation Council and broadband, and I honestly had a hard time following what was going on in those meetings. They were very quick, a lot of acronyms, and I just like, what? And so I talked to remember her name right off, the woman who runs it, and it was just, most of what they were talking about was for GIAC and what's going on in Ithaca, and
Yeah.
very little really applied out here. So I just, and then the other thing started, and I just never really
Okay.
did a good job with that at all. So,
And is that because we have after school programming at the school, Caroline School, that they fund or facilitate?
no, not really. I mean,
You know, Beth Bannister works with them or
Yeah.
used to work with them
I think so, yeah.
and does stuff at both Caroline and the
DeWitt?
BCC.
yeah, in the summer,
Yeah.
they help a lot with the funding for the camps there and things
Mhm.
like that. Yeah.
Is that the rec partnership?
No, that's the youth bureau.
The youth
This is
commission,
youth commission, which is
Joint Youth
different from
Commission.
youth bureau.
and there's
Youth
also
bureau
the
is
recreation
Ithaca. That's
partnership.
Ithaca.
So this is where I got confused about who does what, sorry?
So the youth bureau is Ithaca. City of Ithaca is the youth bureau. And the
Well-
youth commission is the county.
So the youth bureau is on the commission, maybe.
The
Probably.
youth bureau is part of the county recreation partnership, I thought.
Okay.
Oh my God, really?
So, well, they do the ice skating rinks and stuff like that,
See, I thought the
So-
city ran that.
yeah.
Huh.
So,
Fascinating.
and then we join in with that, so. As I said, I got and remain confused about what funding goes where on that, and as I said, part of it was. I mean, I was really taken aback because I raised 2 kids here and I had never heard of half the programs they were talking about. You know, so it was. And when I asked them about the programs I knew about, they were like, well, we don't do those, you know, I don't know, so it was just. It would be great if we had someone who was more, well, someone who's
Into
not
it.
as inept as I was, so.
I mean,
Grasp what
I'm
they were
happy
talking about, so.
depending on when their meetings are, if they're on
Yeah.
Zoom, I'm happy to do that, but I have,
Yeah,
I have like first Wednesday of the month, I have a meeting and
yeah.
stuff,
Let's,
so.
It doesn't have to be a town board
No.
person, because you
It doesn't.
mentioned someone
Yeah.
else's name that wasn't the town.
yeah.
No, it would be great
Okay.
if I think it,
So why don't we hold off on
Yeah,
those?
Okay.
Yeah.
And and think about it and
Didn't Penny Boynton used to do it, or was that something else?
not while I,
Uh,
but she might have
maybe a long time
before.
ago.
a long time
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
but she was also very involved in the schools.
Yeah.
And, she, social working,
Yeah.
social with the schools, so.
So we'll leave those blank.
Okay.
I'm gonna asterisk them, so and try to bring more information to the next meeting.
All right.
And I'm curious, I meant before this meeting, but I couldn't just learn more about those two
Yeah.
organizations and.
What they do.
So then if someone says, hey, have you heard about the blah, 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 I'll be like, yeah, and do you wanna be on it? Cause we're
Yeah.
looking for somebody. And this is what you would do.
Okay,
So part of it, somebody would go to these things and report back to us every couple of months, or, say, oh, there's, an opportunity for funding on a program if we, something that started like this, or, but. Yeah. So,
Okay, more next time.
yep, Stormwater Coalition.
Yeah, Stormwater Coalition and I was actually thinking of seeing if Bob Ray would serve in that role. I haven't talked to him yet though, but I think that's what I will do.
That's logical.
Yeah. No, I joined him at the last meeting and I'll probably go this month and yeah. So Steve Nicholson, he's our EMC Environmental Management Council rep, so that's good. Bill has let me know that he's willing to stay on as chairperson of the planning board. Craig is willing to stay on as chairperson of the review board. And Jack's term expired, so the second resolve appoints him to a new 5-year term. I didn't call him yet, but I will follow up with him on that. I think that was, and then Sue, I think the intention was then she would become the alternate, so.
I thought, so why is Jean McFeeters' term up just in how long is the term?
I think I just, let's see.
Because didn't she just start this year?
Yeah, it's because I made the term to fit windows that weren't occupied in the term
Mhm.
periods, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, and you'll see like, yeah, so. And then the zoning board of appeals, that's Robin Sisney, George Schellenbach, and Dave Makar. Yeah. And the same way I had I'd given George a short term, so he needed to get a 3-year term. So that resolution does that.
Would it make sense for one of us to touch base with Robin just to check in about training and?
I could, she's been good about that. We did get training opportunities from Darby at the county recently, and I think she probably read, they were WebEx trainings.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I should do that. All good there?
Yeah.
Okay. The 46 is policies for town announcements. Which recently, it comes up from time to time, but some gray area, that's a good thing to focus on, but we keep it on track there. It should be town sanctioned functions. Yeah, that's it. And then number 49, these resolutions are subject to amendment. So I will offer, actually what what I should have done, and Jesse, how do we do this? So yeah, I guess they're offered as resolutions. So yeah, so then the one we'll vote on is to approve resolution 50, to approve resolutions 1 through 49 by consent agenda as modified.
So if I second that, we can just go ahead and do this, right?
Yeah.
Second.
Well, actually, once you second it, then we discuss it, right? You can just, anything you want to discuss. The other thing is,
Perhaps I included discussion and go ahead and do this.
yeah, so actually, the first thing I should have said is, does anyone want to take any of the resolutions out that we went through? To separate it from a suite of, from a consent agenda. So if you want to, like, if there's one that you want to discuss further, we can do that. We left a few blank, but I think that's okay. We'll fill them in later, but if not, then I think we should vote on approval of those and be done with it. Okay? Thumbs up over there. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. Then I offer, Resolution 51, approval of the 2025 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement for the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium. And this, I'm not going to read all of this, it's just that it's something we have to do every time members are added to the health consortium.
Members meaning new towns?
New towns, yeah, I think there were, do I have that right? I read through them, there's, I think I shared the email with you, but anyway, like, I think it was 14 that were added, so it's up to like 65,
That's great.
something like that, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
So this will enable me to sign the agreement and submit it and all, so.
What, what if we said no to the resolution and didn't want to sign? Is it because we don't like one of the towns that agreed
No.
to be on the
Maybe thought it
consortium?
was getting too big, I don't know.
It's like, State Division of Financial Services requires this, so it is, it's like a bureaucratic. And-
Formality.
Yeah, it's a formality, and the last time we did it, so they worked out an arrangement where town board could pass a resolution that basically said, this resolution gives the supervisor now and in the future the authority to sign the MCA when new members are added. And then there was, I guess there was a change of membership on this board, and they got more prickly and they said, no, you got to do it every time. So that's why we're doing this.
And is it once a year or was someone added in the middle of the year?
It's once a
You gotta
year,
do it
end of the year, to see
Oh,
if
okay.
any members have added, so.
Suddenly the consortium came with towns and other municipalities coming together to buy health insurance together so they could get better rate. And
Which there aren't a lot of places in the US that do this.
Right.
This is like a unique thing.
it is a very unique thing.
So I got a second on that, right?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Michelle, and any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Great. We have, any comments on the minutes of December 18th? Jesse?
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The minutes of December 18th are approved. And agenda items for the January business meeting. I think one of them will be, let's see, we have public hearing and vote on the cannabis opt-in local law. So.
Wouldn't have heard that out of your mouth 4 years ago, probably. Or whenever before the law. I mean, like, it's just so funny
Yeah.
how illegal it was for so long and. Now town boards everywhere are
is,
saying those words.
I know, it's weird.
It is still not
There-
able to
count-
smoke it in public places,
What did you say? Town boards are everywhere doing what?
Saying,
figuring out.
figuring out the law, the local law.
It would be for
Yeah.
us to leave the meeting and then
Hmm?
talk up on the parking lot to celebrate.
Well, it's still federally illegal.
It's
It's a
still,
controlled substance.
Right.
yeah, and it's still, it's still legal to smoke like at a patio, you know, at a restaurant. It's like that.
Illegal.
It is illegal, sorry,
Yeah.
it is illegal, or a public park.
Yeah, but that's because, I mean,
That's-
that's because it's smoking, right? You're not supposed to smoke a cigarette there.
Yeah,
Right.
there's that.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to smoke cigarettes either.
Anywho,
Just for, maybe you already know this, Millie, but
There's
we,
been a big increase in usage.
a few years ago, when when cannabis was being authorized by the state, there was a deadline at the end of the year where towns,
Authorized
the,
tax.
the regulations hadn't been completed. And so, for, places of consumption and dispense, and places of consumption, on-site consumption, like a bar, and dispensaries,
Dispensaries.
is that it? So towns could opt out and not allow those, and we did it because the regulations weren't complete. So since then, they've been completed, and we've completed a zoning law, so now we're just saying, okay,
We're
off and
cleaning it
back
up a
in.
little bit, yeah.
So. All right, so that'll be one thing, and then there was something else. Oh, yeah, I should have the grant dispersal agreement ready for approval, to put forward for approval. And the IMA, the intermunicipal agreement,
Yeah, I gotta get that. done.
for approval. Those are two agreements
Just
for the
for-
broadband project, working with Dryden, so.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
I didn't look at my email and if there was a response, but I was wondering if it would be okay to add the agenda, a conversation about Brookton's market closing.
Did you have a question?
I work there and we're not closing anytime soon, it's just,
Yeah.
being sold. So it's gonna be new owners eventually, or there's a possibility of it being turned into a co-op. If it were to close, it would be for a few months while new owners take over and figure out how to run it, but long-term, there's no plan of it closing. They're selling under the agreement that it remains Brookton's Market in some form or another.
Thank you for the
Okay.
clarification.
Yeah.
I would like to suggest a conversation about Brookton's Market's transition at this body.
Could we discuss it tonight?
We could start the conversation. I think it's longer than one night, but yeah.
What do you want to say about it? Oh, anyway,
Yeah.
Well,
is it time to discuss it right now, or do you want to? do
If
something?
unless there's more agenda items
It's
to.
only 8:00.
The night is young.
And we're having New Year is very curious because you'll hear some of my opinions at least.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
are there other agenda items that we should consider and then we could discuss this, or?
Yeah, if we should finish that process, if
Should we, do we need to start paying attention to the highway barn engineering report?
Hmm,
Put that back on the table
yeah,
anytime soon.
I think we should at least look at it and discuss it, and, you know,
remember that it's happening,
Yeah,
yeah. That would help.
I guess this is my, like, once we get the broadband, bond going and that, I think I'll feel better about, I don't think I don't think I'll be prepared to make a decision on that until after that point.
no, I don't, I agree, but do we need to communicate with the engineers? I mean,
They put it on our plate, and I mean, so Tom said, basically, Tom Simbari that we met, he said, you know, here's, the next step would be basically executing a new contract for the architectural design and bidding and construction part with him. So it'd be that part.
I mean, I agree that we need to get the bond taken care of before we.
Yeah.
I don't wanna to leave it off
Yeah. I
the screen,
understand.
that's all.
I understand, but yeah. I also had a really, important realization or, so I had the, insurance review meeting with Jeremy Boylan from Bailey Place before the holidays. And he pointed out that the, insurance for replacement of the highway barns as they are is like 2.1 million. So could you hear me? I kind of,
Yeah.
2.1 million?
That's how much we have them.
2.1.
No, that's not it.
No, I know.
That's what we have them insured for. Is that right?
That's what we have them insured for, because
Okay.
that's what the insurance company says it would cost to replace
To
it
replace
as,
that, okay,
to replace like for like.
right.
So I thought that was really helpful to, I think that's good to know, really, really good to know, so. Because when it all started out, we were looking at much bigger numbers.
Jonathan, you may never have seen
The original,
the highway engineering report?
So when you say that, is that different than the buildings being redesigned and
No,
rebuilt?
that's what I'm talking about.
It's, okay, so engineering, why is it an engineering report? And not a building report or a design report
Well, the
or
engineers make it.
Because the engineers made it.
not an architect?
No, this is prior to that. So this is
Oh,
a scoping procedure to analyze what's there,
okay,
what would be needed,
interesting.
how it could be done,
You
what
look
the
at the
potential
soil.
price break
Ah.
would be.
Okay, no, I
And
didn't see
then,
that.
and then after that, you would then go into architectural.
Oh, I didn't
design.
realize we were at that stage.
So we've done two things. So the first thing, we spent an enormous amount of time doing a site evaluation between 3 sites, and then
Which is important,
it's important.
yeah.
And then the next one was, we had this engineering, and they gave us, and sort of, so they did what did they call that, like a scoping document or something, like they said, like, what are your needs, what do you want? Well, it was quite a lot,
I do remember that.
Okay.
part. I do remember that.
yeah.
But you're thinking at this potential next meeting, we would just get where we are, like an update, where we're at.
Well, we have, so then we doubled back and said, hey, we wanna scale this back. The highway crew is gonna modify a couple buildings,
I remember that.
and we'll
yeah.
modify the main garage.
Yeah.
And make it have another bay and fix it up, so it works.
Yeah.
So that's the new plan.
So we
And
don't have
he
the
has
new
said that
road
to
and
us.
huge, anyway.
Yeah,
And I just couldn't remember when you joined the
Okay,
board.
but if the engineering
Relationship
gonna
is.
get us different than what you just described, or is it the same thing? Where you're just
No, that's like-
dating a few
it's the same
buildings?
thing, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, so I'm pretty much up to, I just didn't realize
Yeah.
they called that.
Yeah.
Cool,
I thought so, good. Great. So, so if you think of things to add to the
Town
agenda,
hall,
let me know, what's that?
town hall, do we need an update on the town hall?
I can give you an update on the town hall, I'll do that in my report.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's moving along, we got the RFP about ready, and that'll go out soon,
That'd be
so.
good.
We're having the town hall renovated. We got a grant to do the outside, so it won't look shabby. Good. Yep.
Did you have something?
Mm.
No, okay. Well, let me know if you think of anything else for the agenda. So with that, then I was like, so. Let's talk about Brooklands Market.
sure. So just I can maybe start just from where I'm from as an individual, personal, not, I have 2 hats, my personal hat and my, what am I,
You have to just sit over there.
a public, right, sit there first to talk and then sit here for, so my family loves Brooklands Market. My son is like, he's grown up with it, it's important for him. We eat there all, pretty often. we go there to meet friends and have meals and stuff. And when we saw this announcement, we knew that there was struggles and it's hard to have retail business like that. It's just facts. We know the snow, so we knew when Aaron owned it. So we know there's a little bit, we've followed the history over the last 10, 12 years. But as soon as we saw the announcement on Facebook the other night, we're like, okay, what does this mean? Where we're going? I'm sure there's a lot of people in town thinking like, what's going on here? How are we gonna, where's it gonna go?
Step up.
Yeah, like so I actually, that day, the next morning, I emailed, Josh and was like, because he's put his email on the Facebook announcement.
You said, how much do you want?
Right, that's what I said, no. I was just asking some questions, and so anyway, through 3 or 4 emails and my thinking, and then last night there was a potluck at, the BCC, and people were all like, everyone was talking about it. And Josh and his family recognizes like an important community asset.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a question mark. We don't know, I mean, you can put things in a contract or an agreement, but when it gets sold, but we don't know who that person's gonna be. We don't know what it's gonna be. It's up in the air. There's a huge question mark. And so when I got thinking about it, I was like talking with Josh about, well, can there be a committee of community members come together to help facilitate this process? It sounds like right now they're not willing to.
You sure?
From the email I got today, they're not ready for something like that. They
Wait,
want
who's they?
Josh's
Josh
family.
and Marie?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
That's my sense as of this moment.
Okay.
With that said, though, there is the possibility at some point it maybe being not a business, not a personal private business, but more of a nonprofit or cooperative or whatever. But that's like, who knows? That's gonna go there. So two things I want to say as a now put my town board hat on. The first thing is what I don't know enough about the resolution process or statement process for this body that it seems to me that at the very least it would be nice to make some kind of resolution or statement reiterating the importance of Brookton's Market. Maybe not necessarily saying in its current form, like saying Brookton's Market in the resolution, but saying the importance of a food market in Brookendale is important to the town of Caroline. So that's the first thing. At the very least, I think it would be nice
And what would the purpose of that be?
to let the public know that this transition is happening and there is a chance that it would close. You mentioned it, you said for a couple months, but if it closes for 6 months, if it closes for a year, I would like the town to be clear that in our plan and in the ag plan and in the town plan, it's very clear that it's important to the town to have an entity like Brookton's Market in Brookendale. And so it just helps in some way let the public know that we are in support of the continuation of something like that in Brookendale. So that's the first thing. On the other extreme, I want to just throw on the table that there is a trend in the United States where rural food markets are collapsing. It's a trend. It's like this. And that this is mostly in the Midwest, some municipalities are buying infrastructure and helping that infrastructure become a more viable food market. And so it's extreme. It would be a huge commitment, but I would see in the long term, something like that might be really interesting to consider for the town of Caroline or for Brookendale. I don't know. Doesn't have to necessarily be there. I think it's a bigger conversation, but in this particular case, since there's a transition there, My sense as a very small business that understands a very little about that business, I have an intuition that based on the history and businesses like that, it's probably never going to be profitable in its current form as a privately owned small business that sells food. And so it seems to me that might be important to consider or look at options like a town owning it and then having a nonprofit or cooperative owning the building, which is a huge overhead for a business like that, and then having a nonprofit or a cooperative run the food part of it so that they don't have to have the responsibility of the challenge of the infrastructure and upkeep. And yep. So that's just throwing that out there.
So I have just a couple of things.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, everybody's deeply in support of Brookton's Market,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera. In our comprehensive plan, we make very, very explicit our support for the growth and the importance of small businesses. In our zoning regulations, we specify the priority for that as well, especially in the hamlets. The challenge is that we have many small businesses in the town. They're private businesses. It would be very difficult for the town government to, in my mind, to isolate one from all the others as an indication of support.
Yeah.
There's similarly a market in Speedsville that just changed hands.
Yep.
So I'm very comfortable and I would be happy to remind the public of our statements of support for small businesses at the center of the towns that's articulated both in the comprehensive plan and the zoning law. The second part of your question, I just think is probably way too premature for us even to begin to imagine. We have no information. It's still a private business.
Yeah.
It's really their affair, how they want to move forward. And I wouldn't want to do anything at the town level to put any pressure on that one way or the other, personally. Yes, these are incredibly difficult businesses to run. It might not be true that some form of that business couldn't be successful in that location. It well could be true. So, but I don't think that, understanding all of our love of Brookton's Market and its importance to us, it's really all of our stomachs dropped when we read that Facebook post.
Yeah.
Because, most of us who live on this end of town are there, maybe not every day, but multiple times a week, et cetera, at all different times of the day.
Yeah.
But I think we have to be really careful about our role here, especially until the owners decide how they want to proceed, what options they want to entertain, et cetera, et cetera. Aside from the fact that it's beyond our means right now to even conceive of doing something big. But nevertheless, it's still part of the agriculture report to try to support local farm business, which this is not, actually.
Right.
It's really different from that. So, but I appreciate you bringing it up. I think we all share the support, the extent of the support, but I think it's beyond our means as a town board to isolate attention onto one business as opposed to another.
I mean, there's already been a lot of talk on some Facebook pages that we do that already, that there's a belief that we prioritize Brookings Market over the other stores.
I do want, I just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so I think we have to be careful not to.
Oh, I see, yeah, because, so there has been some talk, again, on Facebook, just reading, like, people like, oh, maybe we could be cooperative, and they're like, yeah, call me, you know, so some people are doing something behind the scenes. So I live right up, you know where I live. I live right up the street from the market, and, you know, when, it used to be the TNT, then it was closed for a while. I remember when it was closed, and I used to look at it sometimes. My husband would be like, "Stop looking at it. We're not buying it." So, and then you know, Avi and Debbie opened it, and right, and it just really changed our lives because my boys could get a stick of butter if I was out of this or that, and then we specifically were like, "We're going to go grocery shopping there," right? And there were a lot more groceries there at that point. Some sandwiches, but that was not the main thing. There was no alcohol, and so it was a very, very different place. You know, one of my concerns going forward is that it doesn't just become a pub that's open till midnight with parking and drinking and stuff like that. That does within the hamlet and not the feeling of a small store. I don't know who's buying it. I don't know what that person's vision would be, right? I mean,
Well, we have zoning regulations.
That
No,
is-
but I looked in the zoning, we don't have anything.
Yeah, there's nothing
There's nothing in
about
there about a
hours.
bar,
Nothing about hours, there's nothing about noise.
and there's nothing about a bar.
There's nothing about a bar.
Oh, that would be,
There is.
that's included under food establishment.
There is.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was nothing about it, and
I mean, there have been concerns voiced to me about noise or parking right in front of somebody's house, things like that, so.
sure there has been, because.
But, you know, I agree that, I actually can imagine, begin to imagine, would like more information about the idea of somehow, is there a way we could support, like a food shop or a food source in each hamlet, although that's touchy, because people are gonna be like, well, why didn't you want the dollar store here, right? So,
Yeah,
that's,
touchy.
but but it would, I mean, I think that, you know, with the county ARPA grant money, right, Brookings Market got some money from that. I had talked to, Marie about that grant and let her know about it. I mean, so it was public knowledge, but, trying to kind of steer some money towards the businesses, actively, or if there are, I'm just not sure what we could do. I don't wanna, we can't play favorites with businesses as a town. No, we can't. And that's, I will say also that the Village of Dryden had, I don't know if the village government had anything to do with it. I didn't get the idea it was, but I could look into it. But they had a cooperative coffee shop for over a decade. Right in Dryden.
But I don't think that was village government.
I don't think it was village government, no.
I mean, cooperatives aren't usually,
No, they don't usually. I mean, when it was
Village
closed, when the market was closed, there was some talk. There used to be a food co-op that met at the Brookingdale Community Center to, you know, divvy up the food. And there was some kind of talk about, well, maybe we should get the market. And that didn't pan out. But
yeah, so I think the problem is like prioritizing one business over another. And I do like Brookings Market, although I find, I can't be sure that I used to say, I'm gonna go there before I go to PNC, and that
But even at this level, I don't think we should be having this discussion.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But why not? You could, it's possible to make a law that blankets all markets. It doesn't have, I'm not saying it necessarily has to be. It provides the opportunity for government to think about opportunities. And
the role of government in this situation, are we?
Right.
Is the local government.
so imagine
Stores.
no markets in town. And then the pressure to put in a Dollar General happens again. It more likely will happen the next time if there are no markets in town.
Well, it could happen where it's zoned to happen.
If what?
It
It
is
certainly
zoned.
could happen where it's zoned to happen.
Yeah,
And if that were to happen under the current zoning law, the town would welcome the discussion. I mean, it's zoned, it is possible for it to happen. There's no reason it couldn't happen. It was never stopped from happening.
Well, that's not my point. My point is that,
But that's a
Food-
good focusing on a
food-
business.
food is important, especially fresh food is important to a community.
Sure.
And so it's different kind of business. It's one that is a human right. And if the town isn't supporting that human right by having a viable entity
but wait,
providing that,
but what, my question is, what is the town's role in supporting it? So the town is not supporting it.
no,
right?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying though, if it continues to go through cycles of opening and closing because there aren't great business models running it, then you continually get a cycle of not having food available to the hamlet. So it's different than if it's a pizza shop. It's different than if it's a bar. It's different than if it's a mechanic. It's a different kind of public good,
Okay, but
a market.
to be a devil's advocate on
Yeah.
this, I can order from Amazon food and it's delivered to my door.
I can't hear you.
I can order from Amazon. I can order the food from Amazon. It's delivered to my door.
That's probably one reason why markets like this will fail.
So wait,
So,
I will
saying
be
that is-
another devil's advocate and say, I mean, and this may be because I don't get it or something, but to me, Brookton's is not really a food market. Brookton's is a place, it's a market for going and enjoying food
mhm.
with friends and a beverage. But I don't think very many people do all their grocery shopping at Brookton's.
It's
You
really
can't-
shifted.
you
It
can't.
used to be
Right.
more grocery store.
Really?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it used to be a grocery store, but they had to cut back on groceries just because the business was failing.
Hmm.
So they couldn't afford to like put more groceries in the store, so
sure.
it did turn into more of like a sandwich and a beer and sitting down. But
Yeah.
their goal was never to,
Yeah,
that wasn't the intention.
the business environment pushed, yeah.
So that,
Makes
I mean,
sense.
that kind of actually makes my point, that if it was a more cooperative or governmental type entity that was more secure, you could be more open to the kinds of things the community might actually need versus one that caters to tourism, for example, which I think a lot of the money that comes in there, which I think is important to keep, because that one reason that I support Brookton's as an entity is that when I rent my apartment, I can put on the marketing material. You got to go check out Brookton's Market because it's a mile walk from our house and it's great atmosphere and they have great food. And so that's important for the town also to keep something like this in place, whereas a mechanic fixing cars is not a tourist attraction. So there you can see there are multiple benefits that are different than a typical business. And I would say you could almost use it as a model to say, okay, if we were going to go down this road, which I know we have so much on our plate, I don't know why I'm even bringing it up, but it's an opportunity. So I like to bring up opportunities that maybe then becomes a model for other markets in other hamlets. It's not like we're saying we're going to do it there and not over here. If that is part of the process, I think it's open to that possibility to offer it to other hamlets.
No, I'd be interested in seeing what the Midwest is doing.
Yeah.
and-
It'd be what?
See what the Midwest, he's talking about some municipalities in the Midwest.
Yeah.
About, food sources in. Probably on the county level there, but I don't know how they're.
No, there were towns, and I think one of the things that was a little different is that some of those towns were like 30 or 40 miles from the nearest grocery store. So for
Right.
them, it made more sense to do it that way, whereas we're like 8 or 10,
Right.
which is a little different, but it's still, there's probably people in our community that still have to take a bus and take, half hour, 45 minutes just to go get groceries.
Mhm.
And then you take another hour, go shopping for an hour, and then another 45 minutes to an hour to get back here. That's 3 hours just to get food, which for some residents is difficult. I'm not saying they're getting all their groceries at Brookton's Market or could, but
So. yeah.
anyway, so this is my thinking, and I get your point, Tim, about, they have their own process. It's not our business, literally, our business. With that said, though, from my conversation with Josh, I was thinking this in terms of municipal market, and he mentioned it. So it is also on his mind. It's not like, he's not saying we should do that, but it's something that he had considered in the past.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, there was somebody on Facebook was like, oh, the town should take this over. I'm like, I don't think we can do that. I mean,
Just so complicated. First, you'd have the whole disagreement about, is it gonna be drinks and sandwiches, or is it gonna be
Yeah.
organic food, or is it gonna be, I mean, how would you even agree on that?
Yeah.
Well, we agree on contractors all the time. You put RFPs out, you can do requests for proposals for the nonprofit that's gonna run the market, and the town can decide what, based on the goals of the town and the vision of the
Well, you have to
town.
remember
Yeah.
that it's one hamlet.
Yeah,
it's one hamlet,
Many
we have
hamlets
4
in town.
hamlets plus,
That would be
yeah,
very.
we would need one in each hamlet.
I mean, I think it's important that the zoning laws don't hurt it. I think we were careful to make it that our zoning regulations don't make it more difficult to have it continue. So that's something we can do.
Right.
That our laws are, conducive to having it, and as far as I
Mhm.
know, we're not doing anything to prohibit it from succeeding. We haven't put any regulations in or laws in or something to make it more difficult.
Or difficult to sell the business and someone
Right.
continue it.
I wonder if the county, I don't know what transitional stage now or in the future, the septic sewer there needs work, and so what triggers that to be stopped from being sold?
Oh, that's like,
So,
I'm lost. What?
I have no idea.
yeah, it needs upgrade. The sewer system.
Oh, the septic at the
At Brookton's
market?
Market, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We should talk after the meeting about that one.
But anyway, my point is that regulations outside of our town could impact an entity like that.
But that's like for health reasons, you can't.
Right, but if the town owned it, there might be it's a
Oh.
different scenario.
No,
Yeah, no, you don't get anywhere with the Department of Health, they'd be all over us.
Yeah.
It's easier to get grants to pay for probably something like
That's
that.
what I want to
than-
talk to you about afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Great.
So,
All right, well, thank you for bringing it up.
Yep.
Yeah,
something to think about for sure.
I share the, I don't want to create complications for them at this stage, which it sounds is, and also I share that. I'm very uncertain about the role of the town in what they could do, but I'm open to learning. So,
Great.
great, thank you. All right, the next thing I'd like to do is call an executive session for a brief discussion of
Personnel.
personnel wages.
right, so you have to tell Millie what an executive session is.
Oh, yeah. So
Means you
then,
have to leave.
Yeah, anybody would have to leave, it, not just you, just you because you.
but thank you so much for joining
So
us.
what an executive session is there certain areas of confidential discussion that have to happen behind closed doors. So what happens at the end of the meeting, we call executive session. And then the public meeting is ended.
Yeah.
And we literally closed the doors.
And I wanna,
And Zoom is trying.
there are certain,
But you get to sign your form before we have.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
executive
yeah.
session.
and there are certain, very prescribed by town law reasons for calling an executive session. So I will call this executive session for the purposes of discussing, union contract terms. So, but I'm very happy you joined us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad we talked about something you're interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
Will you get a second on that?
Executive session.
Oh, on the executive session, sure.
Second,
Seconded by Tim.
Something for high school?
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, my gov class. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
everybody.
Emily.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Have a great night. See you at the market.
Oh, yeah.
Call for a vote, Mark.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so all in favor of entering the executive session at 8:33?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you, Jesse.